You have to take accountability. Likewise, she would have to take accountability if she allowed herself to get to that point to even seek that out in someone else. That's the importance of who? Jesus Christ himself, of God. Because the temptation to do that is always there. That's temptation to replace is always there.
Yep.
And it's like, that's why it's important to have those conversations before you get into a covenant with someone else. Because guess what? If you're not in covenant with God, pre-covenant with that person is a recipe for disaster. Because guess what? Their solitude, your solitude will not be God. You will. The minute you are neglected,
you will
the minute, even the way you described it, how you gave two scenarios. You said there's someone that's incapable, and then there's someone that's doing it by choice. Either one does not work.
Right.
It's still, you're still not meeting that person's need. Whether you're doing it out of ignorance or you're doing it out of being a jerk. So guess what? If I didn't already make a habit of turning to God, I have no foundation.
Right. And you'll turn to what's available to you.
Anything.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And at that point, it becomes a situation where people are not considering risk and reward, right? Because a lot of the consequences to the things that we do that we know are wrong are not immediate. So allowing ourselves the extra time to figure out how to lie, how to clean it up, how to hide, how to manipulate, how to essentially be condescending and make the person at home, feel like it's all your fault. Like you said, it's important for accountability on both sides. That space of the consequence not being immediate, it allows us to become a different level of monster. And that's where now you're on a slippery rope, right? Because if you find so much pleasure in that, imagine if you don't have someone that's founded with you in God. What's going to happen? Right now you're available to that always because it feels good. Because the consequence is not immediate. Because it fills the void. It fills the need. It fills the eagerness. It fills, your desire. It fills your curiosity. That's the problem. Imagination. That's where things begin. Right? That feeling of I must explore. Why do you think that you can make a decision with your heart and your mind does not follow? The mind is powerful in itself, and it stands for almost a completely different set of values.
Absolutely.
And that is why you have to be grounded. Exactly. If you're not grounded in faith, knowing like, hey, if this really just isn't right, this is why God is making these hurdles. This is why we're unable to overcome them. I'm not saying that there isn't a chance, there isn't hope. There is hope where there is life. And we know that. However, through Christ Jesus, because where else are we going to get that, right? It's not something that I can, like people love to use the word manifest. I can't just sit here on the couch and say I manifest perfection.
Right.
Where would that even come from?
Or unity.
Right.
Or understanding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So with that being said, that whole mindset of, I got away with it. Oof. And it felt good. Now you're sitting up on the couch.
Why not?
And this man, right, or woman who you are in that situation with, realize that the energy shifted real quick. And they realize that they're supposed to be doing something different. So now that person leaves the cares of the world, the cares of work, the cares of responsibility outside the door, and decides tonight they're going to cuddle with you on the couch and watch a movie, but all you're doing is texting the outsider. And you're literally welcoming them in to your home.
And you're just absent.
Oh,
there and not there.
Right. Because again, your heart and your mind are battling.
They don't agree. Yeah.
It's not. Logically, right? Logic lives in your mind.
Right.
Not in your heart.
Right.
Logically, you know, oh no.
Yeah.
Playing with fire. This is not good. But in your heart, but it feels good. But I have a different sense of security because if it doesn't work out with person A, person B is showing this.
Right. But again, right? Dunkin'.
Hello.
And coffee from home.
I'm telling you. And not only that, think about it this way. How many times have people fled, right? They flee the 80% good for the 20% outside, right? Now, that 20% that you were interested in from outside, that was someone else's person A. Ew. They were already sick of them.
Right.
They were already in a situation where they were emotionally neglected. They were already fed up with that person. And that person seemed like such a prize to you because you didn't have it at home. And now you jump on that opportunity. The problem is you. The problem is not attaching to different people and everyone is just so messed up in the head. The problem is that you don't have any accountability, that you are not transparent with what you need. You're not honest because you're undone, because you're unfinished, because you're not aware of you. You now project that onto everyone else. But guess what? That person that you chose that is at home, guess what? They may no longer evolve. That may be them for always.
Right.
And you chose that.
You did. And I would say that it's not a matter of, sometimes it's not even what you need. It's out of just want.
Of course.
Just because it's there.
Absolutely.
Just because it's there. I was listening to Jackie Hill Perry and Preston Perry, and they were talking about that idea of, okay, someone else seeming better. Jackie was explaining basically, yeah, you think it's better because she's not your girl.
Right.
You can spend 20 minutes with her, so it's all enjoyable because guess what? You don't have to deal with her, period. You don't have to deal with her emotions. You don't have to deal with... But if you make her your girl, guess what? It's not just because of the woman you have. Right. It's any woman. Exactly. When she becomes yours and you become hers, those same problems that are in relationships are going to show exist.
Up. Of course. Absolutely.
Is that not the biggest okie doke ever?
Absolutely. And listen. All right. And I know I mentioned the coffee that's not at home, right? I said the Dunkin'. And I mentioned the coffee that is available to you at home. I also mentioned the white teas, right? You got 20 at home, but you see one in the street and you're like, I need to have it. Not because you need it, but because you desire it. Doesn't that same white tea that you just bought become old? It also will be neglected, so it becomes number 21 that you don't want.
It fades.
Right?
Gets dirty.
It's fleeting, right? So now what happens?
Browns around the neck.
What do you need? So what do you need when it becomes faded, when it becomes worn, when it becomes old? What do?
A new one.
You find a new white tea, right? And that we do in habitual nature. We're going to keep doing it continuously. Child. So when does it stop?
Right.
When does it stop?
When are you satisfied?
That's the problem. Right? Because again, the heart and the mind, they function on different accords. They function, one is functioning long term, the heart, right? Because you need that. The heart is telling you, listen, this is not going to be good in the long run, sis, run. You know, sir, this is absolutely incorrect. Don't do it. You know what I mean? But the mind is like, well, nobody has to know. Right? Nobody has to know. Or the mind is telling you, like, it's just one night. So, hey, one night. Or, you know, I could always just change my number if I don't want to talk to him anymore.
Oh,
right?
Girl.
What about something else, for example? It's only DMs, right? Because we live in a modern society with all this access to everything wrong. The problem is we don't have access to everything right. Mental health services are not free. So you need to be able to afford that, right? People are not managing the things that matter, the things that can get them to the elevation that they need to be on as individuals in order to be successful in a partnership. So where's the value? Where's the worth in that partnership? if you are functioning out of a place of neglect for your own needs by not voicing what you need. But then you're expecting that this person outside of you is just going to want to feed into that need. I would say, to sum it up, there may not be a forever cure, right, for feeling that neglect and one partner leaving the other one susceptible to the lurkers outside, right? But a great place to start is just being confident and comfortable enough to tell the truth, to have the difficult conversation that we run from. And a lot of the times, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're in a situation, regardless of how long it's been, and you know that the situation should be over. You know that you should be excusing yourself from that situation. But you have this false hope and this attachment just on familiarity that you don't want to part ways, but you know it's inevitable. Why are we stretching it out? What is it about us? You understand? And where are our values lacking that we would go and latch on to something long term that we know is right now and not forever?
Right, seasonal.
Yes. Why are we trying to take that season into the next chapter? Like, no one wants to sit here and just reside in winter, feeling all types of storms, rain, snow, sleet, hail, thunderstorms. Like, who in their right mind is going to say, yeah, I'm okay with, 12 inches of snow every single day, and I never want to see the sun again?
Like making your home in that.
Exactly. Are we touching on things that need to be touched on and then going to the next level with ourselves and then coming into things in a healthy manner? You need to find yourself out, right? Like, people always say, like, broken things reap what? Broken things, right? Yeah. So if we can't come together with ourselves and be like, hey, this is what I need emotionally. This is not a fad. This is not a little because I saw it on social media, right, and they say that you need to take me on a trip. We're not talking about materialistic, surface level stuff that has no value. Girl, they can take you on a million trips and touch every single person and you. You understand?
Yeah.
They can take you on a million trips, and for all you know, they were with the other one last week on that same trip. That does not make anything special. It doesn't make anything important. Important is when someone says, wow, you had a long day. You know what? Take a second. Let me fix you a cup of tea. That's important.
Or coffee from
the home. Exactly. Okay. And maybe if people were doing that, right, with the 80% good coffee at home,
right,
and not seeking Dunkin',
right, where you save money at that.
Right, invested in something. Date night that you talk about, y'all struggling to upkeep.
Right.
That $5, $6, $12 at Dunkin', 4 days a week. You don't think that could suffice for a little movie night?
Right.
You don't think it could suffice for you now paying it forward that the person takes care of you at home and cooking a nice little meal at home? Right? We could get something good. I don't know about you, but I could figure it out. $60 a week.
I'll take a cup of coffee.
Right.
That's true.
I mean, listen, place value where it belongs.
Right. Back in the home. On that note, we're going to go fix us some coffee.
Yes, in absolutely.
The home and enjoy. No Dunkin'. Just coffee at home. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the first episode of Clips of Candid Convos, and we'll catch you on the next one.